Hi, Facebook friends. What a beautiful sunny day out after a little bit of rain. In a little bit, sun's starting to go down. We're going to start Passover. This is, they call it Holy Week. And I think that's interesting because it always encompasses Passover and Easter. Easter must follow Passover. It's just such a lovely time for me, and I thought I would give you our family's version of the story of Passover, a la me, which changes it up a little bit always. So we call Passover the 4 cups of wine holiday, so that we don't get confused with the other high holy days which don't have the 4 cups of wine. But it's actually 5 cups of wine. And I just want to tell you a little bit about the story. The whole point of Passover is to tell the story of God taking us out of exile and out from slavery of the Egyptians. And so, I think we've been enslaved a lot of times, and this is actually part of the 4 cups of wine deal. So basically, we get stuck making all of the pyramids. And I say we, not meaning me, obviously, but our forefathers and foremothers. And throughout this time, the Pharaoh, he's just really a jerk. And he has a hardened heart. And I think maybe this is a little bit about what's going on with us now in our world. Sometimes we all get a hardened heart and we don't realize how very blessed we are. So Moses goes to him because God tells him to go. And says, let my people go. And he says, no, all over and over and over again. To make a long story short, there's this night, and during that night, we have faith in God that He will take us out of this slavery, this bondage, and let us be free and let us worship Him. Now, some people were scared. Probably most of them were scared. But somehow we had faith. And that's what we have to have now. So, the 4 cups of wine, or 5, as it were. I'm going to read a little bit here to explain those 4 cups of wine. That night, actually, which would be tonight, which we celebrate again because of our faith, is that it's a guarded night. It's a night when God watches over us and allows us to be kind of healed again and not forsaken, not killed by the pestilence that comes through. The next day, we're out of there. We're out of there, but we're confused and we don't know all the rules. So God kind of gives us the rules, and it takes us a long time to learn. So He keeps us in the desert for 40 years. But that first Passover, we're in the desert and we celebrate. And the interesting part is we don't celebrate for another 39 years. We don't celebrate until we're in the land that we're promised. And I think that's very interesting. But back to the 4 cups of wine. The 4 cups of wine, because of that night when God really just showed Himself to us. We drink these 4 cups of wine to keep us, they're so symbolistic of getting out of bondage, not just that one time, but a few other times. And I was reading this interesting thing, and I wanted to read it to you about what those 4 cups of wine symbolize. And the first one, it's all promises from God, right? And God doesn't lie. So here are the promises. The first cup of wine symbolizes that He's going to take us out of Egypt. We're doing it. We're getting you out of here. Don't worry about it. And not just getting us out of Egypt, but getting us out of the suffering of Egypt, of how we suffered and how horrible it was. The second part is He was going to deliver us from bondage of being slaves. And I don't think it's just in that time being slaves of a certain people, but perhaps slaves of ourselves and not having enough faith that God would be there for us. And then He would redeem us. He would redeem us with outstretched arms and rules. So He gave us some rules to follow, We've been following them for a long time. We're trying to, and we have to do that together. And then He would take us to Him as a nation, as a whole nation, right? And I've always wondered what that meant. And take us as a nation. We really weren't a nation, and we were just a people. So maybe if we thought about those 4 cups of wine and those things I just said, that could apply right now, that he would take all of us as a nation and he would take us out of bondage. Maybe take us out of bondage of whatever's going on right now. I think for me in my whole life, it's always been very symbolistic that way. My whole faith is very symbolistic. But the fifth cup of wine, that's the one we don't drink. That's the one we leave for Elijah. You know, we open the door for Elijah at the end, right? And we say, come on in. And we have a chair for him and we have this cup of wine for him. And what is that cup of wine for? We don't drink it. We drink the other 4 cups, but we don't drink the 5th cup. And he says he'll bring us to the land. But does he mean land like physical land? Or does he mean the land of true freedom? When the Messiah would come and redeem us all? It's an interesting question. So that 5th cup of wine, I wish for you tonight, even though we're in the situation we're in and we have to be at home and we're away from family and we can't have that beautiful Seder dinner directly with all of our families, that maybe that 5th cup of wine at the end, that you might open the door and let Elijah in and know that he's coming, because that's it. You're opening that door knowing that you shouldn't open that door if it was that night so many years ago, because you might die, right? The pestilence is coming. But because of faith, you know it's okay. You're safe to open that door. So maybe if we open that door of love and let Elijah come in, maybe this is the time he's coming, maybe not. But what's it going to hurt, you know? That 5th cup of wine, I wish for all of you, Jewish or not, to leave that 5th cup of wine, that open heart, that royal drink, leave that there on the table, open the door, let in the fresh air that we have, and say blessings for everyone in the world. I wish all of you who celebrate Chag, Pesach, Sameach, and all of you who celebrate Easter, that you should have a very good Friday and a very happy Easter. Much love to you.